In this video, I will show you how to identify and label the corresponding parts of congruent triangles. In problem number 1, we are told that triangle ABC is congruent to triangle DEF. The order matters, so this means that angle A and angle D are corresponding angles. So you can mark them like this: single swoop, single swoop. All right, mark the triangles, congruent sides, and congruent. Okay. This also means that angle B and angle E are congruent. So double swoop, double swoop. And of course, that means that angle C and angle F are congruent. Triple swoop, triple swoop. Also, though, the corresponding sides are congruent. So between the single and the triple, that's going to be here and here. These sides are congruent. Or I could think of it this way. Side AC is going to be congruent to side DF. See how the order matters? And in a similar way, I could say that side AB is congruent to side DE. So AB is congruent to DE. And one more time, I could know that side CB is congruent to side FE. So that's how I show all that. And in retrospect, I should have written this down as I went. But we decided that angle A is congruent to angle D. Let's see, we decided that angle C was congruent to angle F, and angle B was congruent to angle E. We decided that side AB is congruent to segment DE. And segment DF is congruent to segment AC. And segment BC, the triple, is congruent to segment FE. All right, moving on to problem number 2. Okay. We don't even need a picture to say what is congruent to what. We're going to use the order of the letters. So, angle R is going to be congruent to angle U, because they are both in the third position. So, angle U. What else? Angle S. Angle S is first, so angle P is going to be congruent to angle S. Angle P. And angle Q must then be congruent to angle T. They're both in the middle. So that is how that works. All right, now let's talk sides. PR. All right, side PR. PR is here and here. Well, that's going to match this and this, which is side SU. Okay, so SU. All right, now how about ST? Side ST is right here, and that matches side PQ. All right, so side PQ is congruent to side ST. And then we get to side QR. QR is right here. That matches TU. So congruent to TU. Now we're switching up the order, And we still have to make sure that the same letters are in the same position. Okay, so if I say triangle RQP is congruent to, all right, so remember, let's use what we have going on over here. R is congruent to U. So if R is first, then U is first. Next we have Q. But Q is congruent to T. So T goes next. And that just leaves angle P, which is congruent to angle S. So S goes last. Okay, on the other hand, if I want to do triangle SUT, S is first, but S goes with P, so that means triangle, and then P goes first. Next we have U, but U is congruent to R, so that means R goes next. And then we have T. T is congruent to Q, so that means Q goes last. Okay, now RPQ is congruent to triangle. Well, R is first. So R is congruent to U. So that means U is first. Second is P. P is congruent to S. Third is Q. Q is congruent to T. So that's how you rearrange the order. Let's talk about problem number 3. If we can prove the triangles are congruent, complete the congruent statement and give a reason, like side, 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 side angle, side, etc. If not, circle cannot be proven congruent. These are the ways that we prove that things are congruent. We have side, side, side. We have side, angle, side. Angle, side, angle. We have angle, angle, side. And we have hypotenuse, leg. Those are the 5 ways of proving that triangles are congruent. Here are 2 ways that do not prove triangles are congruent. Side, side, angle proves nothing. Angle, angle, angle also proves nothing. All right, so this doesn't work, and neither does this. All right, but all of these will prove that triangles are congruent. Okay, so looking at problem number 3, I see all 3 sides are congruent to all 3 sides. So that's going to be side, 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 because we have 3 pairs of sides. So now the congruent statement. Okay, angle F. Angle F is right here. Notice that angle F is between the double and the triple. Do you see the double and the triple? Well, that's angle V. So that tells me that angle V is going to come first. Next comes angle L. Notice that angle L is between the triple and the single. Here's the triple, here's the single. So angle L must be congruent to angle Q. So angle Q goes next. And that just leaves angle R. Okay, problem number 4. I see that we have 2 sides and an angle. So that narrows it down. 2 sides and an angle. It's either going to be side, angle, side, because that's 2 sides and an angle. Or it could be hypotenuse, leg, because that actually is also 2 sides and an angle. Or it could be side, side, angle, which would mean that they can't be proven congruent because this one doesn't work. So having two sides in an angle narrows it down to these choices. So how do we know which one it is? Well, first of all, hypotenuse leg is only for right triangles. This is not a right triangle, so we can forget about that. All right, now now we have to choose between side angle side and side side angle. There's one key word here, and that word is between. Between. Do you see how the A is between the S's? That means that the angle has to be between the sides. So is this angle between the two sides? It is, right? Because we have one side here, we have one side here, and the angle is right in the middle. So because the angle is between, this is side angle side. If the angle had been like over here, then it would be that side angle, and we would circle triangles can't be proven congruent. But it was side angle side. So triangle HOT is congruent to triangle what? Well, we have angle H over here, and see how it's angle H is between the blank side and the single. And here I see a blank side and a single, so that's angle D. We'll go first. Now, angle O is between the double and the single. So, well, it's actually marked with a swoop, which reminds me this should be a double swoop. So the single swoop, that's A. And that just leaves angle Y. Okay. Let me reset. Okay, so side angle side is when the angle is between. Side angle is when the angle is not between. All right, keep that in mind. Now, for problem number 5, we have two angles and a side. So that narrows it down. So two angles and a side. So it could be this one, which has two angles and a side, or it could be this one, which has two angles and a side. How will we know which one is which? Well, again, it comes down to between or not between. See how the S is between the two A's? That means the side has to be between the two angles. If the side is not between the two angles, then it will be angle, angle, side. So this is when it will be not between. All right, so which is it? Well, look, we have these two angles. One of the angles is angle C. One is angle L. If I connect those points, those vertices, that shows me that this is the side that is between these two angles. And that is the side that we have marked. So the congruent side is between, which makes this angle side angle. All right, now for the congruence statement, angle C is the single swoop, and that matches angle N. Angle L is the double swoop, so that goes with angle G. And that just leaves angle H. All right, let me reset. Brett. Okay, look at number 6. What is going on here, my friends? We have two sides and an angle. All right, when you have two sides and an angle, at first you can only narrow it down to 3 things. It might be this, All right, that's two sides and an angle. It also could be hypotenuse leg, because that's also two sides and an angle. Or it could be this one. All right, this is two sides and an angle. All right, obviously if it turns out to be this one doesn't work, so we would say it can't be proven. Let's start with hypotenuse leg though. Hypotenuse leg is only for right triangles. So this is not a right triangle, so we can forget about hypotenuse leg right away. Goodbye, hypotenuse leg. So it's either going to be between or not between. Okay, is the angle between the two sides or not? So check it out. Here is one side, and here is the other side. All right, look where they meet. They meet up here. This is where they touch. This is the angle that is between. But the angle marked is something else. So the angle is not between the two sides. So that makes it side-side angle, which is not a thing. So we are going to circle the triangles can't be proven congruent. And when you circle this, do not fill in a congruent statement. Do not put side-side angle right here. That's not a thing. Circle this and leave the other blanks blank. Okay, problem number 7. Now, I notice, again, I have two sides and an angle. So really, there are three possibilities, all right, just like before. Side, angle, side, hypotenuse leg, which is a special case. Hypotenuse leg is just side angle when it's a right triangle. So it actually works out. As long as it's a right triangle, side angle works out fine. We just call it hypotenuse leg. All right, so these are the three possibilities. Let's start with hypotenuse leg. Hypotenuse leg only works for right triangles. So this is a right triangle. So that means it could be hypotenuse leg. Well, let's see. This is the hypotenuse right here. All right, it's across from the 90 degrees. And a leg is any other side that's not the hypotenuse. So we have the hypotenuse and we have a leg. So this is hypotenuse leg. Okay, so now we can do the congruent statement. Be careful. Angle A may or may not match angle A. So let's see, let's think about it. Angle A for the first triangle is it's touching only the single mark. All right, it's between the blank side, only the double mark. It's between the blank side and the double. Okay, so here's the blank side, here's the double. So it actually is going to be angle A for both triangles. Now angle B up here, this is between the single mark and the double mark. It's where the single mark and the double mark meet. Here's the single mark, here's the double mark. That's angle F. And that just leaves angle E. All right, so that's it for number 7. Okay, I started to erase these yellow marks where I kind of narrowed it down, but here we have two sides and an angle again. So again, we have these three possibilities. Side, angle, side, hypotenuse leg, or side angle, which is not a thing. Let's start with hypotenuse leg. I always like to start with that one. hypotenuse leg only works for right triangles. This is a right triangle, so that means that hypotenuse leg is a possibility. It's not automatic though. Where is the hypotenuse and where are the legs? Well, here's the hypotenuse right here, across from the 90-degree angle. Notice that the hypotenuse is blank. The hypotenuse is not one of the congruent sides. That means this cannot be hypotenuse leg. All right, the hypotenuse is not marked. So forget about hypotenuse leg. It's either going to be side angle side if the angle is between, or it'll be side side angle if the angle is not between. Well, is the angle between the sides? Well, here's one marked side and here's the other marked side. Notice that they meet right here, and that is the angle that we have. So the angle is between the sides. So that makes this side angle side. Side angle side. Now for the congruent statement, angle A is between the blank side and the double. And here I have the blank side and the double, so that's angle A. Angle B is between the blank side and the single. Here's the blank side, here's the single, that is angle F. That just leaves angle E. All right. Problem number 9. So triangle CDE is congruent to triangle GFE. Label all missing angles and sides on this diagram. Well, let's mark the angles that are congruent. So angle C is congruent to angle G. All right, so here's angle G and here's angle C. So we know that they are going to be congruent. So right away that tells me I see that one of them is 43. That means they both have to be 43. What else do we know? We know that angle D has to be congruent to angle F. All right, so here's angle F and here's angle D. Well, they both have to be congruent. So if one of them is 85, that means the other one also has to be 85. So that's going to be 85. And that just leaves angle H and angle E. So of course they're going to be congruent. But what are they? Well, we have two angles in a triangle. We should be able to find the third by subtracting from 180. So if I start with 180 and I subtract the two angles that we already have, 85 and 43. Minus 85 minus 43. That's 52. So the missing angle is 52. So that means both of these have to be 52. Okay, so we found all of the missing angles. Now, let's find the missing sides. Okay, well, side EC. I feel like I should start over here. Okay, side EC, that's right here. That's going to be congruent to side HG. So EC is 9, so that means that HG, which is over here, this should be 9. Okay, great. What else do we know? Let's see. Let's look at HF. HF is right here. Dink. And that corresponds to DE. DE is right here. So this should also be 6. All right, what information have we not used yet? What about the 7? Well, the 7 must correspond to DC. This is the only side left. We've already used the 6 and the 9, so this must be 7. So we filled in all missing sides and all missing angles. Okay, so these are congruent. Label all missing angles and sides on this diagram. So we're doing the same thing again. Easy peasy. Let's see, angle C, which is right here, corresponds with angle H, which is right here. Now those are both blank, so that doesn't help me immediately, but it will be helpful later. Okay, angle D corresponds with angle F. So here's angle D, and here is angle F. All right, so those are congruent, so they have to be the same. So if this is 85, then this is also 85. All right, and finally, angle E is congruent to angle G. So here's angle E. Of course, it's like the last angle left, and that is going to correspond with angle G. So angle G is 43. So that means that angle E must also be 43. We should be able to find these yellow angles. We have 2 angles. We can subtract from 180. Are these the same numbers as before? Wow, these are the same numbers as before. So let's cheat. When we had an 85 and a 43, the other angle was 52. All right, so that's the same deal. Okay, we don't need to do that again. So these angles will be 52. Okay. Now, matching up the sides, just like we did before. Let's see. The 9. The 9 is side EC. Okay, so let's see, EC, that's this and this. That's going to match HG. All right, and here's HG over here in this area. Okay, so that means that this will be 9. Okay, what's next? The 6. Let's do the 6. All right. The 6 is side HF. HF. That matches CD. Here's CD right here. So these will both be 6. All right, and that leaves 7. All right, here's 7, and obviously that means this will be 7. Awesome. Okay, number 11. We need to solve for these variables and then use them to find the missing angles. You might want to draw a picture, but you don't have to. I think we should draw a picture. Why not make our lives easier? So, okay, so here's a triangle. And here comes a congruent triangle. right? We're just going to make our lives as easy as possible. So let's say that this is triangle PQR. Then this will be triangle STU. I'm going to put it in the same order. So this will be STU. So I purposefully made it easy for myself, so I just lined everything up perfectly. So it should be really easy to see what matches what. Okay, so angle P is 5x minus 30. Okay, so that's fine. So we have angle P, and that's right here. All right, angle P is congruent to angle S. All right, that's good to know, but I don't see any expressions for S, so I'm going to come back to that. Angle Q, we have an expression for angle Q. Angle Q is congruent to angle T. You can see because of the way I have it all nicely lined up. So those are congruent. But look, angle T, we have an expression for angle T right here. Those should be equal to each other. So I'm going to stop right there and use that information. So these two blues should be equal. So let's go ahead and set them equal to each other. So that will give us 7x minus 36 equals 4x plus 12. If I subtract 4x from both sides, that's going to leave me 3x minus 36 is equal to 12. And then I add 36 to both sides, and that's going to give me 3x is equal to 48. So finally, we will divide both sides by 3. And that turns out to be 16. Okay, so x is equal to 16. All right, now, what can I find with that? So I now know that x is 16, so I should be able to find any of these expressions that involve x. So for example, if I want to find angle P, then I can just do that off to the side. 5x minus 30 becomes 5 times 16 minus 30. And that's 50. So angle P is 50. Now remember that angle P is congruent to angle S. So I automatically know that this will also be 50. All right, how about angle Q? Angle Q is 7x minus 36. So that will become 7 times 16 minus 36. That is 76. So angle Q is 76. I should be saying degrees, shouldn't I? But angle Q is congruent to angle T, so these are both 76 degrees. Okay, well, how am I going to find angle R or angle U? Well, if we have two angles of a triangle, we should be able to find the third angle. So we have the 50 and the 76. These three angles have to add up to 180. So let's just subtract from 180. So if we do 180 minus 50 minus 76, the missing angle is 54. So the final angle will be 54 degrees. Okay, that's angle R, which is congruent to angle U. So this will also be 54 degrees. So the only thing missing is y, the value of the variable y. But y only shows up in one place. Y shows up right here. Okay, angle U. But look, we just found angle U. We just found it right here. Angle U is 54 degrees. So we should be able to set this equal to 54 degrees. All right, this should equal 54 because angle U equals 54. So let's do that down here. So we have 8y minus 2. All right, we now know that angle U is 54. So we should be able to solve for y right now. Add 2 to both sides. That gives us 8y is equal to 56. And then if we divide by 8 on both sides, that tells us that y is equal to 7. All right, that's it. That's how you use the properties of corresponding sides and corresponding angles to find unknowns.